each other when we got a disagreement. That was writing letters to Huey, sending letters to Stokely Carmichael, and instead of picking up the phone saying, "Did you write this?" they assumed. Stop assuming. Assumptions that get you killed. Don't assume on your brother. Everybody's ego get the best of them once in a while. Ladies, yours does. Brothers, ours do. But you got to work on that ego and come back to your brother, because at the end of the day, you better remember this. All you got is the people in this room. Here goes you up. Rule number 6, the God strategy. Black people are hopeless, and like any hopeless people, they have a tendency to rely on divine intervention to stop their problems. We should encourage this weakness in them. In fact, we can use this to our advantage by creating natural disasters that they will assume were created by God. This strategy worked with AIDS. It also worked with Hurricane Katrina. Furthermore, we should encourage the proliferation of religious centers in the black community to spread the belief that God will solve their problems. Religion will effectively keep the masses away from the revolutionaries because it gives them another avenue of hope. But guess what, revolutionaries? Guess what, nationalists, socialists, religious nationalists? Don't destroy the religion of a sick black person because they'll automatically assume that you're attacking their God. Back off their religion. I keep telling y'all to back off. You're not going to organize this race by going after the religion. Go after their heart. Go after their commitment. Go after their racial identity. Go after the ancestors in their environment. That's who you go after. Marcus Garvey said what? The Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League is not a religious institution because we got enough churches and mosques. He said it's not a social institution. We got enough clubs for that. He said there's only one purpose for the institution of the UNIAACL, and that is nation building. We about nation building. Nothing else but nation building. Stop falling for the God trick. Soon when you see an Arab who's a Muslim, you assume he your brother, but you ain't got no damn 7-Elevens. So when you see a white man who's a Christian, you say he and she is your brother, but you don't own none of those Fortune 500 companies. Don't you know that religion is just a military tactic? When we study black history, you have to study it for the good and you got to study it for the bad. Too many of us don't look at the mistakes that our ancestors made. You got to look at the mistakes. What's the biggest mistake that they made? The belief that if we share the same religion, we share the same worldview. Stop doing that. You have nothing in common with no other race, and would you please stop trying to unite with all these people of color? We need help from the Native Americans. We need help from the Hispanics. Don't even use the damn word. A Hispanic is an African who speaks Spanish who don't want to be African. The revolutionary strategy. This is very important because this is coming down the pipe next. Pay attention to this. I want you to pick up the latest edition of Time magazine. It's either Time or Newsweek. The person of the year for the first time in the history of Time or Newsweek. I forget which one, but you'll see it. The person, the Time, is the protester. Why is the protester the person of the year? Because white supremacy's new face is the grassroots activists. White supremacy's new face is the grassroots activists. And that's why when we really begin to build, guess what, good people? We got to see everybody in here criminal clearance. Not to see whether you're a righteous brother or not. Because we know there's a mass incarceration war. The reason we need to see your criminal clearance is because during the Black Power movement, the police made street corner drug dealers knock off Panthers. They made them knock off members of the Black Liberation Army in exchange for lenient sentences. So the reason I got to see your criminal record is not to judge you, black man, but I got to study whether or not you can be used as a double agent. Are y'all following me? This is real serious. This is real serious. You must do well to find out what the blacks are planning and then hijack their efforts. Don't prevent or destroy their efforts, as this will arouse the temperament of the masses who we need to remain sleeping. Simply jumpstart the revolution before they can get started. And with the people not knowing that you are controlling the movement, they will think it's the people's army. Do you know that Occupy Wall Street was a hijack from the real Occupy Wall Street? Did you not know that the March on Washington in 1963 was a hijack from the real march? Do you know that the original planners of the March on Washington originally planned to lay down on the airport fields and don't let no airplanes land? That was the original March on Washington. They was going to shut down the damn airport. That was real revolution. But let me tell you what the government does. If we plot a strategy in here that we're going to put into effect February 1st, they will create that same strategy and put it in motion January 1st. And because we don't have our own communication network, all the blacks in the community will run to their struggle because they got started before we did. Be careful. There's a lot of brothers and sisters out here who are talking counter-revolutionary, who will tell you to put your life at risk for something that won't work, brothers and sisters. Be careful. We courageous, but we gotta be intelligent too. And we gotta be intelligent and be courageous. Think twice before you move out, because you might make a decision that costs you your life or quality of life and don't even matter to the people. Number 8, the misleadership strategy. This is real key in the age of Sharpton, and in the age of Messy Jesse, and in the age of the other ones. You must create leaders to replace those that threaten our agenda. You must be wise in your choice of replacements and should therefore ensure they embody 7 characteristics. Are y'all ready? Every black leader that white supremacy chooses to put out in front of you must meet 7 qualities. 1, they must be charismatic. 2, they must be chiefly concerned with themselves, but not their people. 3, they must have a religious backdrop which will keep the people spellbound and not interested in political progress. I'm not saying that a black man is automatically dishonest if he claims to be a representative of God. But once they become a representative of God, you can no longer hold God's representative accountable. It's the biggest hustle in black history. Whenever they want to put a leader in front of you, give them a Jesus, give them a Muhammad, give them an alien, give them some damn body. Because guess what? Once you have determined that they are a religious representative, you don't ask them, where's the money going? You don't ask them, what are you doing for the hood? Are y'all following me? So you got to beware of that type. They must be terrified of white people. They must be easily controlled. And then they must be greedy for money and attention. They must have a damn ego. They should have some relationship with a previous leader whom they trusted to ensure followership, authenticity, and trust on a grassroots level. Since they respect money and collegiate education, it's oftentimes better to use a celebrity or a scholar than a grassroots organizer. So now they got Bill Cosby talking for you. Now they got rappers talking for you. You can't have no Negro talking to you who's worth $50 million. Revolutionaries must come from the same class of people that they lead. Are y'all following me? You have never had a revolutionary ever who did not come from the class of the people that they are struggling for. And you know why that is? Because if I don't feel your pain, if I don't wake up the way you wake up, if I don't sleep the way you sleep, if I don't go to work the way you go to work, then guess what? I won't see your situation as important as it is. I might have better things to do. Choose your leaders wisely. And do me a damn favor as we go into 2012, stop letting them choose you. Let's talk about the success strategy. Whenever people believe they're making progress, they tend to relax their struggle and settle for the illusion of progress. Thusly, to prevent a unified front on part of the oppressed, we should give them meaningless victories, which will create division within their ranks, as some will be content with the petty gains, while others will want to press onward, but will not have the manpower to do so. These petty political victories should be attributed to our hand-picked leaders to keep the people's confidence. What was the #1 petty victory that you was given? President Obama. President Obama. You Negroes celebrated his victory more than the 13th, 14th, or 15th Amendment. More than the Civil Rights Bill of 64 or the Voting Rights Act of 65. You celebrated that victory more than the commutation of Mamiya's sentence. More than Geronimo getting out of jail. Why did you do that? Because the media, the fourth branch of government, effectively sold Obama to you. Nobody in here even knew who he was before 2004. He showed up as the guest keynote speaker at the Democratic National Convention as state senator of Illinois. Why in the hell would the Democratic National Convention bring a junior senator from a state of Illinois, which is like the congressional ghetto? And I'm not knocking my Chicago brothers and sisters, but this is how white folks view it, because that's the only place you can get elected to the Senate from, is Chicago, because it's the strongest black electoral district. Why did they make Obama the Democratic speaker? Because they wanted to see how white people reacted to him. And when white people reacted favorably to Obama, they said, guess what? I think we got the weapon we can use to reopen Africa to the exploitation of our interests. Obama is not in office because of you. They didn't need Obama to brainwash you. All they got to do is turn on the damn Super Bowl to brainwash your ass. Obama had nothing to do with you. All they got to do is put on the next top model for your ass and you done. Okay? Stop patting yourself on the back. Negroes running around talking about, yeah, they put Obama in there to brainwash us so we wouldn't stand up for ourselves. Negro, you ain't stood in $150 years. Why would you stand now? Obama was put in office to hoodwink our brothers and sisters on the other side of the Atlantic. Through AFRICOM, he has successfully put military bases in every major strategic location on the continent. Your black president is responsible for the recolonialization of your homeland. And what is Obama's domestic agenda? Barack Obama's domestic agenda is to make homosexuality totally acceptable in the black community by the time he leaves office. And some of y'all making a mistake. You're confusing our struggle with the gay struggle. Our struggle ain't got a damn thing to do with nobody else's struggle. You want to confuse our struggle with the gay struggle? Where was the homosexuals and lesbians when we was getting dogs sicked on us? Where was the homosexuals and lesbians when we had water holes sicked on us? Where was the homosexuals and lesbians then? Where was the Mexicans then? Where was the Native Americans then? Where was the Hispanics then? Where was the East Indians then? Where was the Arabs then?